often put it this way. In order for us to be in the state that we're in today as people, we have to be out of our minds. We literally have to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be backwards. It is necessary for us to be maladjusted. It is necessary for us to be disunited. It is necessary for us to be self-hating. It is necessary for us to be filled with an inferiority complex. In a world where the European is essentially about 10% of the world's population, if that 10% is to continue to rule over the other 90%, it must keep that 90% out of its mind. It must keep that 90% in a state of deception. It must keep...
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Brian HRap B. Williams. This is the End of the Bench Media, and this is called A Few Minutes with HRap. Every day I hope to enlighten you, uplift you, and empower you with information that'll be so you and I can put ourselves in position. So you and I can put ourselves in position to make our great-grandchildren's grandchildren life much better than ours is today. Thank you for tapping in. You already know the routine. What we're going to do is, if you're not watching live, go to www.theendofthebench.com. If you get the notification, you can watch it any way you like. But if you like, it'll be more beneficial to you and I if you watch this on www.theendofthebench.com. On the left, you'll see the Black History video today. I've mixed it up today. I apologize. On the right, you'll see today's episode of A Few Minutes with HRap. Thank you for tapping in. And of course, I thank my parents, Dolores and John. Without Dolores and John, there's no me. Without them, there's no me. There's no program. You'll be doing something else with your valuable time. And again, hit like, hit share if you haven't subscribed already. And I want to thank, first and foremost, I looked at my numbers today when I was updating my website. Thank you to the people who have been supporting me. It is greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. It warms my heart that I'm reaching so many people. Thank you. Now, with that being said, lies and tricks. That's what we're living in the world of, lies and tricks. What do I mean by that? A lot of the United States population were tricked. And how were they tricked? With lies. Why would you even believe something that a liar would tell you? But hey, I personally believe it's because we have been infused with the nonsense of, I could be rich one day too. One day I could be rich and powerful. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with dreams. There's nothing wrong with aspirations. If you want to be a billionaire, a trillionaire, or a gazillionaire, like my man Forrest Gump said, you have a right to dream that. But that does not mean you change who you are to get where you want to be. The only way you're going to get to where you want to be is to be who you are. You hear the lies and deception even in television shows. I was watching a Boston Celtic documentary last night, and instead of just being honest, Danny Ainge did a little double talk, basically said, I BS'd them and I got my way. And they always dress it up in the word of, it's never personal, it's business. But you know what? If I work my behind off to get where I want to be, whether it be performing arts, athletics, podcasting, telling jokes, comedy, or just friendships, it's personal to me. It's not just business, because whatever I put my blood, sweat, and tears in is my business, and it is personal to me. So when you tell that lie, it's business, it was just the business. No, it's not just the business, because when it's somebody you're close to, it's you never find these people screwing their close friends and family members, but they'll screw you because it's business. So let's remove that from the American conversation, point blank, period, end of sentence. But we have these admirations or these goals to ascertain wealth in mass amounts. We want to be billionaires. We want to take care of our great-grandchildren's great-grandchildren. Understand that. But we're 100 days into an abusive, lying, deceptive administration. 100 days, and you have had people laid off en masse. You've had lies being told. You had false imagery. You had people stepping in and doing things to benefit them. How does it benefit them? All you have to do is pay. You don't even have to pay close attention. What I want you to do is use muscle memory. And when you use muscle memory, you can compare the old to the new. Evolution is part of the new world order. It's part of the world order of the world. Anything that new evolved from something that was old. LED lights evolved from the light that Granville Woods helped create. Point blank, period, end the story. Thomas Edison, stop that lie. Y'all cut it out. But what I want you to understand is this. When you are dealing with people who have lied, who have bankrupted themselves, who have done nefarious things to get where they are, understand when they get in play, they're going to screw you too. See, I learned that lesson the hard way. I had a very close friend at one point in my life, and I watched him screw over people religiously. And I always said, oh, no, he'll never do that to me. See, now he just doing what he got to do until he did what he had to do to me, and I got screwed. See, when you're dealing with double dealing grifters, what's going to happen at some point, you're going to be on the other side of the grift. And then you can't even be mad because you knew who he, she, it, them, or whatever the case was when you engaged with them initially. And that's what we're dealing with right now. You saw a dude who did his very best to bankrupt the country the first time around, and he openly admits that he didn't know what he was doing. What entirely did he learn in 4 years that he didn't know 8 years ago? And that's what I need you guys to understand. You enrolled a grifter to run the United States federal government, to actually, and technically to run the military, but y'all think the president runs the government, and we're going to talk about that on the bottom end of the show. Now, with that being said, let's look at some of the things him and his and the dude and his superior does. Like I said, use muscle memory. You've seen, if you're of a certain age, you've seen Joe Biden sit there. You've seen this guy sit there before him. You've seen Barack Obama sit there for 8 years. You saw George W. Bush sit there for 8 years. You saw William Jefferson Clinton sit there for 8 years. You saw George H.W. Bush sit there for 4 years. You saw Ronald Reagan sit there for 8 years. At no point did you see somebody standing in the room on the other when he was in the Oval Office speaking to the United States populace. At no point. You've never seen that. You don't see people standing next to the mayor unless they're up at a podium. If they're in the mayor's desk, the governor's chair, or in the Oval Office, you see them sitting there because it's supposed to be that person addressing you. That lets you know one thing is off. The second thing, you create Doge. Why would you name a Department of Government Efficiency Doge, D-O-G-E, after a cryptocurrency that this guy owns and cost me a lot of money? I'm not even lying. He cost me a lot of money when he bankrupted that very cryptocurrency on Saturday Night Live. That joker was going up, and then he cost me money, but that's neither here nor there. But what I want you to understand, the Department of Government Efficiency walked in the door lying. We saved them $80 billion, and it ended up being $8 million. $8 million is a lot of money to working class individuals. But when you talk about the United States federal government, who traditionally leaves $4 billion in budget on the table because nobody offers to claim it, $4 billion and basically handouts on the table, $8 million is nothing. Line number one. Then you attack the IRS. Why did you attack the IRS? Because those two guys are delinquent in their taxes. See, they're attacking entities in which they can be held accountable to. So why wouldn't you? Then you go a couple weeks ago, I talked about the database leaks that they went into. The United States federal government, due to things like Watergate and other entities, has separated all information because that way, when they saw information was at hand and they understand everything would be digital at some point, they put them in all different places. This dude galvanized, and him and those Doge boys, which they're consisted of a bunch of hackers that have cases on them, mind you. Basically, he has a bunch of criminals in his organization. So who better to hack into anything and leave not a trail? A hacker. If you don't believe me, watch something like I told you, Art Imitates Life. Watch that movie with Halle Berry and John Travolta, and they were showing you how you leave worms and hack things, and you won't be able to track them because this is what they do. This is how they do what they do. Now, with that being said, why are you hiring? Look, in a traditional sense, you can't get a criminal, a garbage truck guy job. But now you got criminals running a department that is used to track everybody's information. So guess what? Elon Musk has your, mine, and everybody else in this country's tax information, the day that you got a divorce, the reason you got a divorce, your military records, your medical records, your marriage license, the last thing you filed for tax, the reason you got fired, and things, everything that is on record, he has a copy of it. And there's no trace of him and those boys doing that. Why did you need that information? Another thing, they attacking the Department of Justice. Again, the Department of Justice are right on their heels. He has several infractions in which he lost cases in California. He was going to lose cases all over this country because he was mistreating engineers and Tesla. And they were being forced to pay the penalty. So he went out to Tesla. See, these are the things that you're not paying attention to, and they're banking on the fact that you're not paying attention to them. And when you don't pay attention to things like this, your ignorance, and I mean that in a clinical sense, not in a, you're ignorant mother, no, in an ignorance meaning void of information, lack of knowledge. You're ignorant to what's going on because you have been duped or programmed or introduced to a concept of trusting the people who are supposed to do their jobs, and they just don't. I understand that's what we're used to, but that's just not the way things work at this point. These are the departments they're attacking because they need to have information, then they fade away. Oh, well, I'm no longer in charge of Doge. You know why he's no longer in charge of Doge? Because he's probably made about $75 million on a monthly basis since he's been doing this. So you talk about $150 million. Meanwhile, he's making money on the other end. Meanwhile, all the nefarious activities that was in that information database, that he collected the information and then he stole documentation of everything that was there that was going to set him and his minion, the president of the United States, up. Those things are no longer there. And there's no way to track them because I have the best computer hackers in the world, so it won't even show that we were there because you don't know what was there in the first place. And why? How do I know? Because other hackers on the same level who have an actual moral compass say, hey, they're not supposed to be doing that. This is what they're doing. But you've allowed people to dupe you into the nonsensical thought process of the gay agenda, the Muslim agenda, the Black agenda, the Latino agenda, or any other agenda that they put forth. Meanwhile, none of those things have ever happened. None of those things have ever posed any threat to you. None of those things. And you bought into it. You allow a bunch of damn fools to tell you what you should be thinking. Realize what's going on. You got a guy people have consistently stepped out in front of the world without any reservation and said this guy couldn't read. He was handed a letter by Prince Charles. He just looked at the paper. Oh, this is great. He can't read. And to read is not to be able to say, hello, everyone. Thank you for the support. Reading is hello, everyone. Pause, slight pause, and you're reading that. So you are letting people know I am addressing you. Thank you for the support. That's how you read, not saying words. Saying words is not reading. And that's what I want you to understand. If you are letting people who have a horrible and a torrid background run things, why is it that people with felonies can't run things? How can you be the president and not get a job with the city picking up garbage with a felony? How can you at one point in the state of Kentucky be a felon and couldn't be a barber? You just did 5 years in the penitentiary where you learned how to be a barber and you became a skilled laborer at that field. And you get out and you're in that state and I can't go get a barber's license because I have a felony. But I could be the president, and in most cities I could be the mayor, and most states I could be a senator, and and I could be the leader of the free country. But because you ain't the leader of the free world, you're the leader of this free country, alleged free, this criminal enterprise called the United States of America. But you can do that with a felony. Let that sink in. Realize what that means. Your brother, your cousin, your uncle, your sister, your aunt, your friend who has a background, you do a background check, zero, you're not getting a job, but I can run for president. Understand how asinine that is. But back to the point at hand. We have to stop falling for the proverbial banana in the tailpipe. And what is the banana in the tailpipe, you ask? The dismantling of government services because they stood behind the two letters in Doge that mean absolutely nothing to them. Department of Government Efficiency. Efficiency. There's nothing efficient about this. Last time this dude was in office, he cost the United States of America $1 trillion. He put the United States of America $1 trillion in debt. How is that efficient? You talk about efficiency. You're not efficient at all. You talk about efficiency. How would you know efficiency? And you've been sued several hundred, maybe even 1,000 times for people not paying people. I have literally heard stories about gentlemen and ladies who own business, who he's hired. He put them, signed a contract with them about paying them an exorbitant amount of money. And the man, this is one man in particular, he had a construction company. He was supposed to pay him. The dude did the service. He didn't pay him. He had to sell all of his equipment, take out a ton of loans to pay his employees, and then he unalived himself. This is a real story, and this is who you stand by. This is who you stand by. You stand behind a dude. You call yourself a Christian. You call yourself a believer. You say you have faith. Whether it's Islamic faith, whether it's Jehovah's Witness faith, whether it's Catholic faith, whether it's Christian, traditional Christian faith. You say you have faith, and you saw what's her name, Taylor Green or whatever, the bad body lady that the sister was talking about. I can't, Marjorie Taylor Greene. You see her sit on TV in front of the world and said, you say this guy's a felon. The Democrats in the left wing say he's a felon. The guy I praise, the God that I praise, was a felon too. You sat in front of the world and violated rule number 1 with your God. Don't compare no other God to me. I don't care what faith it is. Your God say, don't you compare nobody else to me. But these are God-fearing, law-abiding people that you let tell you that they had your best interest in mind. You compare a clown to your God. Listen to what we're dealing with. But hey, man, but Biden and Obama, blah, blah, blah. But they're not in office right now. They didn't defund. Guess what? When you just broke your back, my main man Dion hit me up at 11:50 on the 15th about doing his taxes. He was straight. He said, man, I'm stretched out, man. I had to do my taxes. I said, dude, they laid off a whole bunch of people at the IRS. You ain't gonna hurt him getting a return. But y'all used to get them in 4 to 6 weeks. Let's see if you get your taxes back in 4 to 6 weeks this time. Probably not. There's a lot of things that are happening right now that have been slow. Well, we're gonna trim the fat. But see, here's the thing. How many of you been at the self-checkout line and then the line malfunctioned and you had to wait for one of those young ladies and young men to come around and do whatever they do and then go back, and then that slowed you down because you thought you were going through the self-checkout line to speed up things? No, you didn't. How many times have you been calling customer service? Push 1 for this, push 3 for that, push 8 for this. Say what you want. You have to say it 5, 6, 8, 10 times. Then you have to wait. You know why you have to wait? Because they streamline things for efficiency. So how's that working for you? Customer service is horrible right now. Your fast food is slow now. The speed lane at the grocery store is slower than the lady who's or the gentleman that's How's that working for you? But you were duped into believing 2 criminals were going to do their best to make things efficient for you. The biggest and most egregious thing that they've done is attempt to do away with the DOE. The DOE and the DOJ. That's where I'm going right here. The DOE, Department of Education, and the DOJ, Department of Justice. They were out on their heels. So of course I'm gonna attack the DOE. They locking up judges for telling you you're doing wrong. He is literally following the pages of Mein Kampf, and you can call it Project 2025 if you like. That is Mein Kampf, some of the tenets of Adolf Hitler's regime. He went into, before he got into office, he discredited the media, fake news. Before he got in office, he made a group of people the enemy of the traditional populace, excuse me. What do? We hate the migrants. We hate the LGBTQIE plus community. Made them criminals. And then he started running up on those people, snatching them off the earth and sending them outside of Germany into what is identified as concentration camps. What are they doing now? Ship $6 million to El Salvador, which is more, $6 million American dollars is a lot more in El Salvador, probably about If it's anything like Mexico, you talk about $20 million. And then he's shipping people down there, erroneous people, and they even have people housed in our great state of Louisiana in the boot. So tell me when I'm not following the blueprint, but we've fallen for it. The banana in the tailpipe. You got judge, you got the Supreme Court who he appointed people saying, whoa, Sabi. And he's still doing what he wants to do. And you still have jackasses like Byron Donald supporting this. Dude, I'm not going to get into the Byron Donald thing, but you still have people doing it. But that's just what the Department of Justice. Let's talk about the DOE now. The Department of Education. Hey, man, my kids are adults, so why should I care? That's what you could potentially say. My children are adults, or I don't have any children. What am I tripping about? Guess what? My children are 20, soon to be 32, and soon to be 28. I got other children. I got grandchildren. What happens at the end, mid-May, a lot of people, if you're in the South, at the end of May, and the end in the middle of June come this year. Graduation is at the end of May. So that means you have millions of people that are potentially transferring into Department of Education funded trade schools, Department of Education funded summer programs and job programs and lunch programs funded by the DOE. And what are you going to do with your FAFSA? Oh, nobody thought about that because we've streamlined that process. A lot of those people are at the crib. Who's going to put through your FAFSA product? So who's going to pay for your child's education? Didn't think about that because he's streamlining everything and you were worried about, see, he's getting things in order. No, he's not. He's screwing the working class people. All I want you to do, again, use your muscle memory. Think back in time. Just work with me. Think back to, like their slogan, make America great again. Okay. Make America great again. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make America great again. Now what I want you to do is this. We can't, if you in my gang, this gang right here, this melanin gang, I don't care what country you come from, what continent you came off of. This one, the Central America, South America, or the great continent. At what point did rich people do a whole lot for poor people, working class? Well, excuse me. I said I was going to never call us poor again. We are the striving class, the working class, the striving class, and the rich. At what point in the history of the world have rich people come together and say, you know what, man, your homeboy who ain't been on vacation in 9 years, he ain't been nowhere but working home. We're going to give him a raise and we're going to give him 6 weeks of vacation so he can take him and his wife. They ain't going to do that and they never will. You are a 2025 and unforced indentured servitude person. That's what you are. Because I refuse to disrespect my ancestors and use the S word. Since, everybody don't want to say the other word, the S word. No, there ain't nothing like that. Enslaved people, there ain't nothing like that. But they ain't never going to do that. They never will, they never have, and they never going to do it. So why would you believe them now? See, what we're not paying attention to is this. You got literally millions of young people set free with questions now. Now, ask yourself this question. What induces crime? What makes crime come about? The lack of hope. See, I'm willing to kill somebody. I'm willing to rob somebody. I'm willing to steal because I don't think, hey, man, ain't nothing going on for me in 2026. Ain't nothing going to happen for me in 2026. So let me get out here and work this jab. Or if y'all not familiar with Chicago slang, sell this dope. Because, hey, man, I might not live to be 30. I'm 18 years old. I ain't going to live to be 30 because it's hopelessness. So if I graduate and I don't know if I'm going to get my education funded, I don't know if everybody downsizes, so I might not be able to get a job. I'm hopeless. So what do hopeless people do? They commit crimes. What does he say about homegrown criminals? He want to send them to El Salvador. See, understand that this is a plan that is being unraveled before you and you're not paying attention because they're banking on the programming and the ignorance. The programming of you sitting back, you saying, hey, yeah, man, the Democrats didn't do nothing. The Democrats did it. The whole system works perfectly. We don't need to fix the system because it's working like This thing is working like a Bugatti. This working like a Bugatti that just won Le Mans. Just red hot and running hot. How is it working like that? One of your friends get together and say, man, we need to do this. Like, I'm from a housing project called Avila Homes. 1209, 1159, 12, well, I forgot the third one, 1111. I ain't get all the people in those three buildings together. I ain't go to the 16 stories. I ain't go to the Jane Islands. I ain't go to the Ville and just galvanize all those people there and say, hey, this is what we want. Because that's how you get things done. That's how you get things done. But we're not doing that as a populace because, man, they ain't going to do. You know why they ain't going to do? Because you ain't been asked. We continue to complain, and then we sit back and go, man, that was a good show, man. And you ain't had one of these conversations. But guess what? You ain't having these conversations with your significant other. You ain't having these conversations with your homeboys. You ain't having a conversation with your relatives. But how many, and I'm not pointing a finger or waving a finger at anybody. But how many people talked about Deion Sanders' son this week? Let me show you how crazy that is. One of them. So don't think I'm not talking to myself. I can't see me, but I can hear me. I'm one of those people. But guess what? We spent time worried about a young man who's 22, 23 years old, who the day before the draft, he was a millionaire, not having anything to do with his dad's money. I'm not talking about Deion Sanders. I'm talking about Shadur Sanders. Shiloh Sanders is a low level millionaire. Shadur Sanders signed a $12 million contract with Tom Brady what is it? Name, image, and NIL. Name, image, and likeness. He signed the and guess what? I saw a national ad with him and his brother on the AT&T commercial. And I also saw a national ad with him and his brother on the KFC commercial. So you're talking about collectively about $14 million, and we worried about him not getting a job that neither one of us gonna have. If Shiloh Sanders and Shadur Sanders never snaps another football in his life, he is not going to ever understand what a missed meal cramp is unless he's too far away from his house and left his phone and can't go to KFC or McDonald's or Burger King or wherever you want to eat. But we're focusing on the wrong, because we're focusing on the wrong things. See, you only focus, see, the DOE does a lot of things. Oh man, they teaching that woke curriculum. No, they're not. See, that's another thing. That's where ignorance traps us. How does ignorance trap us? Because the DOE does not control the curriculum and the academics in your school. The school board does. The president of the school board. That's who does it. The president of the school board controls the finance, the academics. And guess who controls the school board? You. Everybody lives somewhere, whether you live in South Carolina, whether you live in Texas, whether you live in Alabama, whether you live in Mississippi, whether you live in California, or wherever you live when you watching Thank You from all over the United States and all over the globe. You live somewhere, and you can complain to the people that would do it. Who's your school board president? Who's your city manager? Who's your county president? If you don't know those things, then that's why they're able to beat you. See, now we need to beat down the governor. The governor person, we need to be beating him down, because if our kids miss one day of school, we got a problem. That's what it is. We need to start telling our kids to go to community college and then escalate to a 4-year university if you don't have the funds, because it's cheaper and you can work and go to community college. You just have to stay focused. We have to start teaching our children about politics. So look, you teach kids, we don't have to write checks anymore, but teach kids how to pay bills. You teach kids how to preserve their credit. Teach your kids then you teach your kids civics. Because once they learn how to take care of themselves, they need to be able to take care of their environment. See, you're the difference in winning and losing. We were never taught that. And I don't blame us for that, because we grew up in a world we were surviving. We have not been living. We don't survive. We don't live. We survive. Whew. Sick of this week, because you're living for the weekend. Shout out to the OJs. We are living for the weekend. We need to be living for then and then you keep moving. You start off right now and you move some more, and you continue to move, and you continue to move, and you continue to move. And the buffering happened. I apologize for that. I'm actually, I see I got a monitor right here. I see myself, and I'm a few seconds ahead of y'all. I apologize for that. But you continue to move forward and continue to move and continue to move. What I'm going to do is show you the wickedness that we're dealing with. That's why I've been showing you insanely violent videos on the Black History segment for a reason. I want you to be angry. I want you to be angry. You need to be angry. See, oh man, I don't want to watch them slave movies because that be pissing me off good. Because you know what pisses you off? A bust in the mouth. I'll bust you in your mouth right now. You be angry and you swing on me. Even if I beat the crap out you, you wouldn't stop. So watch them slave movies so you can get angry and watch these videos, this portion of this video. You know, if you watch this video, I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I need you to go where I need you to go. Where do I need you to go? Y'all know I need you to go. You know I need you to go. I need you to go right there and watch the whole video in its entirety. You go to my website. Shout out to the people who've been doing it. Yeah, man, exponentially. I'm up 62% on visits to my website. Shout out to all of y'all. And then you watch both videos. So if I said something that you didn't understand, you can rewind it and then you can go watch this video. I want you to watch it because this is horrible. This is horrible. And this is what we're up against. Just like they told us we was lazy and trifling and blah, blah, that's in them. And this is what's in them.
They called themselves patriots, defenders of American values. But under the black hoods and shadowy meetings, they were nothing more than ruthless terrorists. The Black Legion, an armed secret society that spreads fear and death across America, thrived in the darkness, targeting Black Americans, immigrants, union workers, and anyone who dared to challenge white supremacy.
Do you hear that? Union workers. This is why I keep telling you, rich people don't want you to have a shot. Why are you attacking unions? Union only make it so you have a comfortable workplace, equal pay, and less dangerous workplace, and be treated like a human being. But we don't want you to get your out there and be the coon or the slave or the whatever colloquialism that you have for your white counterparts. We want to treat you like that. Back to this, man.
Unlike the Ku Klux Klan, the Black Legion didn't march in the streets or hold public rallies. They operated in the shadows, staying behind the scenes like ghosts of terror, striking silently and disappearing very quickly. Even before you wink, their members, they were not just rogue criminals, but police officers, judges, politicians, and high-profile businessmen. The very people who were supposed to uphold justice were the ones committing unimaginable crimes.
Did you hear that? Isn't that your president? Policemen, judges, and businessmen. That's your president. But hey, man, see, he gonna look out. That's exactly what I was just telling y'all about. He gonna look out for us, man, because he a businessman. You know, he gonna do the right thing. And just know his father's probably part of the Black Nation. I'm back at it.
One night in 1936, a man named Charles Poole was dragged from his home, beaten and executed by the Black Legion. What was his crime? He was suspected of opposing them. That murder, however, would be their downfall. What investigators uncovered shocked the nation. A secret army of thousands, plotting rape.
Were you or a loved one admitted to an Illinois behavioral health facility? A global settlement may be...
As you see, man, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Keep telling y'all, man, the beauty in fighting evil and wicked and disparaging people is they only know how to roll with force. Force is the only way, you know, no disrespect to the great Mike Tyson. You know what? I'm not even going to go with Mike Tyson. I'm going to go with Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston was a good boxer, but he was a knockout puncher. All he knew how to do was just beat you into submission. And this is why the great Muhammad Ali was able to know this dude can't beat me because I'm coming from this angle, I'm coming from that angle. He's going to swing, I'm going to tire him out. Even our great ancestor now, George Foreman. George Foreman was a good boxer, but he was just known to brutalize you. So Ali knew if I drag him into the deep water, which is a metaphor for the late rounds, and when he get tired, I bounce up off these ropes and bing, 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 game over. And that's how we fight evil. Evil runs straight at you. It just runs straight at you, and it's no bobbing, no weaving, no left, no right. It comes straight at you. And because it assumes that it has all the power and you can't defeat it, it will continue to run at you. And that's where the downfall comes. It will happen today. It will happen tomorrow. It will happen in other ways. Now, I'm going to talk to the people who tell me that they believe in God. You God-fearing people, I'm going to need you to act like you're a God-fearing person. And just like I told you, evil only comes straight. God comes from over here. God comes from over there. God comes straight at you. God comes from behind. It's like a clock. He hitting every angle. Use that faith and have faith, but know that God is telling me the right thing to help us. And then you listen and you feel it in your spirit. And you know, hey man, maybe we do need to start having these conversations. I do need to be talking to my brother-in-law, my cousin, my uncle, my aunt, my homeboy. I do need to start talking about registering to vote. Because as you saw, they were judges, elected officials, sheriff, the highest police officer in the land, which I don't know. Well, most people don't know that the police is actually a corporation and they are bonded. So if you lose your bond, you might not be able to function there. Just look it up. You ain't got to take my word. But we start talking about these things. You know, just with that same fire. We talk about young Shador. We talk about these things. Or you can hit me up on social media. You can text me or whatever. We can start having these conversations. You start inviting people so we can start our own good legion, God's legion, good people that's moving in the right direction. Oh man, I'm part of the Jehovah's Witnesses. I can't do that. I'm part of Nation of Islam. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Because if you're for good, you do good. You know, that's like Jesus said, I have sheep of other flocks. Work with the other flocks so we can have a nice life for ourselves. See, we worry about too many things that we don't have in common. Look, let's talk about the things we do have in common, even with our European brothers and sisters, our Latino brothers and sisters, our South American brothers and sisters, and other communities throughout the world. We all need air to breathe, so we need to ensure that we have the EPA is in full effect. We all need fresh air, water, same thing. EPA with the soil, same thing. Our children need to be properly educated. Guess what? You need to know about the Asian people who came over here, like the Chinese who did the railroad. You need to talk about the Jewish people who came here, who used to be no N-words, no Jews, no Italians, no dogs in this restaurant. And look where they're at now. The Italians, they get discriminated against because of whatever. The Irish, they got the same thing, and they became the patty rollers and the cops and the people who hunt you down at this very moment, that's a whole nother conversation. Follow me in the conversation. Let's not judge. We listen, but we don't judge. We need to talk about the people who identified as the indigenous, how they had over 1,500 treaties. If you don't believe me, if you have HBO Max, watch Exterminate the Brutes. Exterminate the Brutes. And you'll see how the United States of America violated those people, over 300 tribes that were here, and the white men who came over here when Europe flushed their toilets, and those white men came over here cannibalistic, animalistic, and just wicked as hell, and they took over this land. And first and foremost, last but not least, my people who have been lied to, discriminated against, turned against each other, backstabbed, shot, stabbed, hung, tarred, and feathered. And what we'll do is we'll see that tyranny, oppression, discrimination, and other nefarious and devious things have been done to all of us. One thing in common, we all want to have a peaceful life. Second thing in common, we all want to be able to be the best human beings we could be. Third thing in common, all of us claim to believe in God, whether you call him Jehovah Jireh, whether you call him Allah, whether you call him, you identify yourself as a Hebrew Israelite, or whatever faith that you follow. Treat your brother as you would treat yourself. See, all these religions have the same principles and tenets. And if you believe in this and I believe in that, let's do this. Let's create as much peace as we can in our communities, in our counties, in our city, in our state, in this criminal enterprise called the United States. And then we can have an argument about who's right and who's wrong. But you know what? Before we had an argument, I want us to do this. Let God handle that, and let's see what happens. Let you know, God gonna handle it, right? But if God gonna handle it, then you be the judge, not yet ye be judged. Oh, damn, that book a mug, ain't it? That book is something else. That book is something else. But with that being said, I want to thank y'all for tapping in. It's the end of my day. Talk to y'all tomorrow. This is Brian HRap B. Williams. I thank you guys for tapping in as you do every day on a regular basis. And have a great day, and thank you for the support. 2 fingers, 1 word. Watch to the end. Listen to Dr. Amos Wilson. It's after me. You'll see him after you see.
And it is necessary for those people who rule over us and who rule over African people the world over, if those people are to stay in power, they must destroy our ability to love each other in a healthy sort of way. This is why